never a good Muslim, and the Umayyads are never considered good Muslims. They're good Arabs is what they are. And we read about the Arab virtues in our earlier part of this class. Arabs like gambling, horse racing, falconry, hunting, all the things a pious Muslim really is supposed to abjure to some extent. So these are what the Umayyads liked. And they liked good art, they liked luxury, they liked hunting, they liked falcons, they liked racing, they liked animals. You know, they were just Arab chieftain, Bedouin chieftain, with all the preferences that a Bedouin chieftain leader would like, but not good Muslims. And never really considered good Muslims, which is why the Umayyads are more or less forgotten in the history of Islam, but remembered by Arabs. Arabs always say, oh, the Umayyad Caliph, the glory days of the Arabs in Damascus. And if you read or see that, how many saw the movie Lawrence of Arabia? What's he trying to do in that movie? Or it's a picture, get to where? Damascus, to restore what? The Arab Caliphate. Does bin Laden want to restore the Arab Caliphate? No, no. What's he want? The Islamic Caliphate. He wants all the Islamic people. The Lawrence of Arabia, he's only interested in the Arab Caliphate, the Umayyad Caliphate, the Damascus Caliphate. So the Umayyads are really like good Arab kings, bad Muslims. They're Muslims, but they're not good Muslims in terms of what a pious Muslim would perceive to be a good Muslim. So, under Muawiyah, things recoalesce. The rest of North Africa is conquered. A few invasions of Byzantium are occurred. The Muslim armies go all the way into Iran, not under Muawiyah, but at one of his successors. By 710, the Muslim armies reach the borders of India. And by 710, they've reached the borders of Morocco totally. Everything is under control. So the Muslim empire under the Umayyads stretches from Morocco to India. That's a very big expansion in a very short period of time, isn't it? And the fact of the matter is, they don't really have the communications or the logistics to keep it up in any real way. All that is supposed to be run out of Damascus. So Damascus is the not Medina anymore. That's where the Muslims are. That's where Ali's family are. You know, they're down there in Medina, but Damascus is the administrative center of the Umayyad Caliphate. Am I making sense to you guys? Okay. So when Muawiyah dies, and I don't have a lot of information to give you about his reign, but he was a successful reign. A successful reign means there's no information. Everything is running smoothly. And the things are, there's no more, no more protests, no more civil strife, it's there beneath the surface, but it's not on the open. This is another example in history that's really weird. If the Shiites, if Ali's family had waited 3 years, they probably would have been successful and the whole history of Islam would have changed. But what happened was, when Muawiyah died, his son Yazid, he has a son called Yazid. Who's that son named after, obviously? The brother that was killed in the original campaign. He has a son called Yazid. He takes over, but Muawiyah has lived so long that Yazid doesn't survive very long. And he only survives 3 years. He dies in 683. But there's the rub. There's the rub. The moment Muawiyah dies, all of his enemies come out of the woodwork, including the enemies in Ali's family. And what happens is, Ali's son, Hussein, decides when Muawiyah dies to oppose Yazid's caliphate. Now you see, if he had waited 3 more years, when Yazid died, he probably would, Yazid didn't have any offspring. And he would have been probably in a much more favorable position, and he probably would have won. But at this point, it's not yet the right moment for him. And he tries, and he loses and is killed. This is a story as well of the bad luck of Ali's family and their descendants. This is known in the history of Shiism anyway. The Sunnis don't care about any of this. They don't like Ali's family, and they don't commemorate any of this. This is only Shiites who commemorate this now. This is called the martyrdom of Hussein. You can spell Hussein many different ways. I like to spell it with two S's. Some spell it with one. There were two sons of Ali by Muhammad's daughter, remember? Hassan and Hussein. Hassan and Hussein. Hassan, notice in Jordan today, all the kings are named like that. Hassan, Hussein, and so on. They keep this family connection with the Prophet very strong. They call themselves Hashemites because they claim to be descendants of the Prophet, though they're not Shiites. In any event, Hassan was the older, and he was considered fairly corpulent and not phlegmatic and not very interested in revolutionary things. He had been pensioned off by the Umayyads and lived a comfortable life in Medina, like Aisha and others who had been troublemakers. But the younger one was a more fiery temperament, Hussein, and at the death of Muawiyah, he was encouraged by his supporters to make a bid for the caliphate. Hassan didn't try, but Hussein did. All these people are considered to be imams by Shiites. There's Ali, there's Hassan, there's Hussein, and so on. They're all imams. Imam for Shiite is their version of the successor, but now an imam has supernatural powers. It's more like a Christ. More like a Christ. Christ in the Greco-Roman terminology. In the sectarian Christian groups, the Christ was considered, the Gnostic groups particularly, to move from person to person and to be reincarnated in people. It was sort of like a Buddha idea. And Buddhism was strong here in these areas. You notice how the bin Laden or the previous government in Afghanistan blew up the Buddhas in Afghanistan. There were huge Buddhist statues in Afghanistan. The Bamiyan place there, they're trying to restore those, but whether they'll ever be able to, I don't know. Some Japanese financiers, because the Japanese are Buddhists, I read in the paper the other day, are going to make a light show there to restore these statues with light, whatever light sort of shine, some light I don't know, some modern sort of thing to have a light reconstruction of what was there, because they're offended by